Welcome to The Good Ride. I am your friendly, average snowboard gear guide, James Beastie, here to talk about the GNU Banked Country. This is pretty much a full camber board with only a passive bend, so it's very technical, very aggressive. Definitely more on the old school technical side of riding. It's not ideal for beginner intermediates, but if you're an advanced expert rider, you see a lot of hard snow, you want competent grip, and you're okay with a slower, thirsty base that requires more waxing than most, this could be a good board because I just love the way this turns, I love the way this pops, and I think this is a pretty good all-rounder for those who understand camber. Now, I rode this with Union Force and my Nitro Team TLS boots. I tested this at the demo in a 62, but I owned the 59 when it had a slightly different tail, but almost everything else is the same. And I just wanted to make sure it's the same. Well, guess what? It is the same. You don't have to watch this review. You can watch my old review if you want, where I actually put a lot of time on it. But I wanted to do an updated review because you never know till you go. And this is an honest, objective review with zero brand oversight. They have no say in what I say. Hell, they couldn't even send me a board for extended demo. The investment company that owns them gutted that company, and I don't have a marketing contact anymore. And I can give you this honest, objective perspective thanks to Blower Board Shop, a family-run business that's been around forever, selling to snowboarders longer than most snowboarders have been allowed on the hill. They're family-run with a large online presence, competitive pricing, fast shipping, and great customer service. So if you want to support honest and objective content, buy through our links to Blower Board Shop. We both greatly appreciate it. Now, when it comes to sizing, the 59 is really my perfect size. It's that nice balance between having control all day, but not feeling too small when it's perfect. Sizing's all subjective, and I generally lean towards control for a daily driver versus speed and drive. But if you like speed and drive and you're my specs, you could easily handle a 62. You'll only be sacrificing turn initiation as conditions are uneven and a little more demanding. Now, when it comes to shape, this is very directional. The nose is a good bit longer, obviously, and has a lot of surface area. And this is really set back on side cut at 1.5 inches, but it's not much more set back on board. It only is 2.25 inches back from center of board at a 22 3/4 inch stance width. So there isn't much setback on board in relation to the setback on side cut. It's more in that all mountain world, and it doesn't feel as directional and free ride as it looks. When it comes to camber profile, this is pretty much full camber from tip to tail. I don't really see any early rise. There's just a ever so slight passive bend in the middle. So for all intensive purposes, this is traditional camber in the old school form, not the shit people say is full camber these days that always has early rise or lifted sides. This is like what I learned on Unforgiving, catchy, but the pop and the stability and the drive from full camber is another level. Just needs a more technical rider. So if you're a committed intermediate, I wouldn't do it. You can get better boards out there that are much more forgiving, that might not give you physical therapy for life like I have after some of my injuries learning on camber. So keep it to advanced expert riders. Experts would love this. When it comes to edge hold, the disruption in the side cut starts out mellow and gets more aggressive towards the tail. The bottom line is it still grips like a champ. If you see a lot of hard to icy snow, the bottom can be a little grabby, but overall, most people can get used to it pretty quick in soft snow. And when it comes to flex, this has a very fun, dynamic, poppy flex. This is full camber, and it takes a more technical, stronger rider to access the tip and tail for buttering. And the way this pops on an ollie is upper tier pop for sure, without being too bucky and bouncy and chattery in uneven snow. It's a great balance between pop and being a great all-day ride in all conditions. Hard micro bumpy to soft tracked up uneven snow. And this is a great board for getting air off piste. It can just track so well into complicated launches and land really well. You have a lot of landing gear here because you're not that set back on board, even though you're very set back on side cut. This is doable switch, but there are a lot better boards out there compared to the Banked Country, but it's better than it looks having such a long nose and short tail. You would think it would be worse, and it's actually not bad to ride switch. The 59 I owned was really fun in the pipe. I just love the way the side cut, the grip, the width, just the overall personality worked for the way I ride pipe. Old man style, just carving the walls and having fun. But even if you like to get out and you size it right, this is a good board. There are better, more twin-like boards, but it's not bad. When it comes to turning, the extra length of the 62 felt like a lot more board than my old 59. I greatly preferred my 59 for quick turns, and I found that it did really well if you want to turn through the trees. It never felt like it was catching me up when I needed to make, let's say, a hard left in the trees or a hard right or slalom through something. And it's great for people who are riding in steep terrain and need to get through a tight, sketchy spot. When you got it on edge, the spring out of the turn is great. You can front foot, center weight, or back foot weight these turns, and they all do fine. The different parts of the disrupted side cut react a little differently to the way you weight a turn, but overall it's pretty fun. And this made across the groomer carves really well. Wasn't bad with a circle carve, especially in my old 59. Medium radius turns, or even wanted to do some longer, narrower, drawn out S-turns. It handled that speed pretty well, and it could handle long sustained straight lines on bigger, longer run mountains. It's very competent for this kind of flex personality and shape and size. You can do a lot worse, but you can do a hell of a lot better with the base. I am just not a fan of any Mervin, aka Libtech and GNU, centered knife cut base. I found these bases lacking, and I've gone through great lengths to see if I could get this base to work with my buddy at Mount Bachelor, Alfredo, who's a lifetime tuner, loves playing around with bases. We gave this a base grind. We waxed the hell out of it. And when I say we, I mainly mean Alfredo. And then I waxed it a couple times at home too, though. I went back up thinking, okay, this base isn't gonna go dry after 2 runs. And sure enough, there I was already seeing streaks of dryness. The wax was just stripped off. These bases don't retain wax well. They keep their speed pretty well when well waxed, but after a day, your wax is gone. You have to wax it that night, or you're going to have a good bit less glide the next day. It's not going to be a deal breaker for everybody, but for people like me who want to ride this in soft snow and firm snow, and they don't want to wax every night, this could be a problem. Now, when it comes to powder, I did not get the 62 in any powder, but I got the 59 in some pretty deep, fluffy pow. And that 59 floated really well. The new shape with that slightly different tail will float really well too. For being full camber, you could do a lot worse. I would like a little more setback on board though, and a little easier directional float, but it's not a slouch by any means. And if you see a lot of steeper terrain, the Banked Country is going to be a great choice. It just is a lot more challenging in medium to low angle powder. So if it wasn't for the centered knife cut base that constantly needs waxing, this would be a really amazing board. And I think a lot of you can get past that. Then you have a board with excellent grip, a great turning experience, great pop. It's really fun in steeper terrain. So there are a lot of positives about that board, and I hope this review helps.